Yeah, something like that.
By the way, guys, our theme song is up in my jam all of a sudden by Kobe off of his gas-powered EP. You can check him out at kobe.bandcamp.com. A lot of music's up there, and if you really want to support him, they have a new subscriber thing where you can give so much money a month, and then you get exclusive tracks and stuff.
But more importantly, what's this?
Oh, this is the Talkbox Podcast.
Oh man!
Talkbox
Podcast.
Who freaking knew, right?
I had no idea.
Welcome once again to another episode of the Talkbox Podcast. As always, I am your host, Chad, Captain Tempest. With me, we've got Zack, Cryolord 530.
Nothing has happened since the last podcast.
And Adam, the Dutch Oven.
I guess I'm here. I've been hosting this for 3 years, and then I just gave it the chance.
Well, I wouldn't say that nothing has happened since the last podcast.
No, that's true. We do have a number of topics to talk about.
We do.
Nothing has happened with me since last podcast.
Oh, that's fair. That's perfectly
acceptable.
I wasn't even on the last podcast.
Yeah.
So I've just been living in limbo.
He talked through Pat's phone via text.
No, I chatted. I messaged Chad.
Yeah,
Chad
I did that one little
Yes.
bit for Mafia 3, so there we are. So anyway, yes, a lot of stuff has happened. It's been maybe a good couple of three weeks at least since the last podcast.
We've had some good,
something like that.
Some serious time in between.
Yeah,
We've done stuff. It's just I didn't bring the microphone.
Yeah,
Right.
there have been some news that's gone around, but we're not going to touch too much upon that. We are going to touch upon something that did happen this weekend, and that is that the Magic the Gathering Commander 2016 decks were released to the world on the I want to say the 10th?
I believe so.
Oh,
Not
boy.
sure.
Whichever one the Friday was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was probably the 10th.
Yeah.
But we got a chance to try them.
Yes. We decided to pool our money together, and we got a set of 5 from... oh man, I wish I actually kept the thing for it, the paperwork somewhere.
Was it Channel 5 or something?
It wasn't Channel 5. I ordered it through tcgplayer.com.
Got it.
I can't remember the exact name of the store that it got from. If I remember it, we'll throw it up on...
We'll post it on...
Yeah, we'll post it on the Facebook or something.
This is going to be on YouTube. We'll put it in the description.
We'll put it in the description for the YouTube where we got it from.
Which Chad edits it because my editing's...
I'll make that
you
text.
don't edit.
I'll
That's
make that text box look freaking divine.
Yeah, that's
More
But
Lisa.
anyway,
More
so we
Lisa.
got a set of the 5 decks. We got one of each. We got Open Hostility, Entropic Uprising, Breed Lethality, Invent Superiority, and Stalwart Unity is the one that we don't actually have here because Harry took it with him.
Harry was here when we were playing, but he ditched us to raid.
That's okay.
He had some other things to do.
He's
fine.
got more important World of Warcraft things to do. That's
Which is
important
fair.
World of Warcraft business.
So we're just going to be 3-manning this. So we're going to start off by talking about Commander 2016 and generally a lot of the stuff that we had. So we played 2 games with the decks. Harry was the only one that changed up because he played the Entropic Uprising, which is the Sans White deck first, and then he switched to Stalwart Unity, the Kings of Melodis, which is the Sans Black deck.
Which was the deck he ultimately went on.
Yeah, that's the one that he decided to take back. So
Actually, I'm going to pull up the deck listing on that for later.
yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
of course.
So overall, I thought the decks, they're very, very well crafted. I guess to start with, it's the fact that they're 4-color commanders is pretty sweet, and that we've never actually had that before. Like we've had the Nephilim that you can house rule
As commanders.
because they were the Magic's first 4-color creatures, and I know that Mark Rosewater has said many times that he wished that he could have gone back and made them legendary to actually give them purpose.
Right.
But sadly that didn't happen. But yeah, it's like now that we have a whole brand new design space to work with, and it's kind of weird in a way because it's like you look at all of the past Commander products, and they've been for color combinations that have kind of previously existed.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's easier to build mana bases for those because it's like if you want to build a 3-color deck, like say you want to build a 3-color Grixis deck, you can go online and you can probably read an article or find a video or something that discusses in depth like how you would go about building a strict mana base for that.
Right.
For the 4-color decks, there's nothing. Like there's 0 content out for it right now. So this is a brand new area for people to kind of explore and discuss.
Which is definitely neat, and I do like what they've already done, what they've prepackaged in these. Because just like playing with them, they've all seemed like they fit very well together. Like I haven't seen any parts that really don't mesh, I guess, is the important bit. Like,
They work together.
yeah, they all work well. Like even like we all had a lot of the same mana stuff. We all had the Orchard cards, which
Exotic Orchard.
yeah, we all had some of those. We all had some of the basic, Soul Ring, Fellwar Stone, things like that. Yeah, command tower. We all had the basic command sphere that like set up the mana base for everything else, and like then what really changed it was like it was nice because it provided a lot of the staples that Commander is like requires basically to get involved.
It definitely gave you a lot of cards that are very relevant in the format and things that for deck building down the road, even if you don't keep this deck together as is, these are pieces that you are probably going to use when constructing other decks. So that the first thing is that they are 4-color decks. The second thing was that they also introduced a new mechanic called Partner. And this is probably one of the more... It's a very strange mechanic, but I really like it.
It's neat.
Just the only text on the card is that you may have 2 commanders if both have Partner. So there are 15 legendary creatures in the Commander 2016 set that have Partner. There are 5 allied colored pairs and 10 enemy colored pairs.
It's neat because you do get a lot of like chance to like mix and match, I will say. I was definitely a little disappointed that if I'd used... When they give you the 3 partner legendaries, there was only one combination that let me keep my main general. Because like I had Atraxa, I only had 2 other legendaries that were black-green that could have partner, and then one legendary that was blue-white. So I was required to have the blue-white.
You had to have the blue-white one and then mix the other 2 in whatever way you wanted.
Which kind of, I was a little not crazy about, but I feel like they made that okay just because my like main commander that didn't have partner was like pretty good. And Atraxa, I definitely enjoyed. I thought it was definitely an interesting commander, and it like made me feel pretty good. Like the deck all had like the right theme. Which is nice.
I think out of the box, the Breed Lethality one, the one with Atraxa, Sans Red, that deck is probably the most cohesive out of all of the precons because it's like it already kind of knows what you want to do. It's got like at least 30 cards in the deck that have things to do with +1/+1 counters. And even though Atraxa herself like works with any kind of counter because of her ability that she proliferates at the end of the turn, that like you can work with a bunch of different counters on that. You could just keep with the +1/+1 counter sub-theme. You could throw in a couple Planeswalkers because it does loyalty counters. If you want to be that guy at the table, you could use Infect and poison people and just proliferate their poison counters. And of course you also have experience counters from Commander 2015 and energy counters from Kaladesh.
Right.
So it's like there's a lot of versatility with her, and I feel like her potential is only going to grow as time goes on because you're always going to have cards that support those archetypes.
It was also really... For me, I hadn't looked at the deck list really before, and I got really like excited when I saw that there were like other weird like little commanders that I've seen in other stuff, like Vorel Hellclad and Gave was in Atraxa. I know I saw some other like Sharoom was in another one. Classic commanders that I've seen played as the individual like commanders for a deck were just like thrown into these decks because they synergize really well, and I was just really excited to be like, they're just giving you commanders that you can just use for whatever you want.
That's the other thing that I liked about it is that this product, like if you want to take this deck apart, not only do you have the 4-color legendary creature and the partners that come with the deck, you also have other legendary creatures that you could peruse and build decks around.
Honestly, I would almost recommend this as like a baby's first commanders deck.
Oh, this is a wonderful
because it's like it gives you so much to work with. Because it comes with everything under the sun that you could possibly need. It has like a theme already built into it, and even the commanders that aren't like your real like quote unquote commanders that are intended are like already preset for that theme. So you know some of the stuff that will work with it.
Yeah. Obviously, you'll be losing a couple colors here and there if you don't want to keep all 4. But it's just like I said, it's just a building block tool for the people who are kind of new to the format. So I'm going to take a stab and say that these are probably some of the best Commander products that have come out since they started actually giving us product for it way back in 2011.
Compared to last year? Yeah, I'd say so.
I think that they've done a great job of making sure it's balanced and like stuffing them with the proper amount of value so that some decks aren't like completely absurdly more expensive and hard to acquire than others. Right. Obviously, there have been some spikes right now. I know that the Atraxa deck and the Breya deck are the most popular right now.
They're
currently
Invent Superiority
and Breed Lethality.
Invent Superiority and Breed Lethality. Those two are on the more expensive side, running about like maybe $40, $50, $60.
Yeah.
But that's going to come back down once everyone gets their copies, and then they put more of the printings out there. So So in general, what did you guys think of the games that we played? We'll start with the first one, I guess, where the only one that was missing was the Kings from the Sans Black deck for Stalwart Unity.
I won.
In which Adam won. Yep.
Because I dirtled.
And
so that first game.
But that was a lot of... I think...
Figuring out.
One of the... I had a really good early game where it was just like I managed to get all of my like rocks in like one of my first hands, which was really great, and that made me feel really. And it was really cool to get Atraxa out like turn 3, and then like turn 4 get out like I think it was Colonian Hydra, and just be terrifying, and that was really cool. And I will say like proliferating on the end step is a neat like feature because Atraxa is already kind of a crazy like. She's already kind of a crazy legendary creature. I'll say that.
She's a Chinese menu creature.
She has flying, vigilance, death touch, life. Yeah, it's great,
and it represents each of the colors and her cost.
Yes,
so.
And then just the proliferate at the beginning of your end step is just like, oh yeah, and it's not just like one. It's so great. I really enjoyed it a lot, which is obvious from me trying to talk about it. And it was one of those things where none of my creatures were. Like real like fatties, honestly. It was one of those things where they came out, they had some counters on them from just like showing up, and then the thing that really gave them any power was the fact that I was proliferating every end step. So it wasn't even like I needed to even swing into anyone. It was, oh, I can swing if I want to, but really I just need to end my turn to make everyone better. And like if I waited long enough, I would have had like really good guys. And it sort of it was nice, and I did like how I had like a lot of options for removal. They were definitely really like expensive removal.
Yeah,
like a lot of my stuff was just like board wipes, and I, as a guy who likes board wipes, I like board wipes. But the problem with that is like I felt like it didn't know what it sort of wanted because I didn't have any like guaranteed way to give all my guys indestructible. So, like, if I wanted to, like...
So you had the board wipe, but you didn't want to use it because it was going to wipe your entire, honestly, like, progress that you'd built up.
If I had Soul of Phyrexia, I could, like... Or Soul of New Phyrexia, which...
Yeah.
From Adam's.
Now, is it all creatures or artifacts?
Permanents.
All
so everything, yeah.
That would go fantastic in this one. Because you spend your whole game building up your mana base and building up your guys until they're, like, you know, all 5/5s or whatever. And then you do your board wipe, which is like a 7... mana, you know, cast or like an 8 mana cast or whatever, and then boom, okay, I soul new for it and make everyone indestructible, done. And that's as someone who, God, I always feel bad that my EDH decks are like indestructible and board wipes, but like that's
how you like to play. Yeah, no, that's obviously something that you're drawn to, and probably something that you'll kind of tweak around with your deck as you go forward.
But then again, it wasn't something like I didn't feel bad playing this as a pre-con. Like this didn't feel like a weak pre-constructed.
Yeah. Oh no, they all felt.
This felt
absolutely
powerful
great.
enough to be like something that I could, you know, just as easily just sleeve this up and go to town with,
and then just make small alterations as you go along.
Which is what I like about my deck.
Let's hear a little bit about it. Let's hear from the winner of that first game. What did you think of Invent Superiority in Breya?
I mean, I struggled a little bit because I had to get my red source of mana for a while. But I mean, I think I only played Breya like twice because I didn't need her because I had that my friend.
Your friend?
You know who I'm talking about.
Bruce Tarl?
No, Akiri.
Akiri, yes. Akiri Lineslinger.
It's because what Akiri Lineslinger does, it gets +1/+1s for each artifact you control. And I had artifacts, I had artifact creatures, I had Soul New Phyrexia, so I'd make everything indestructible. And I think that was, I mean, the reason I ended up winning is because I had Breya out and I just nuked everything.
Yeah, you sacrificed enough artifacts to deal direct damage with her ability to deal 3.
Which was good.
Yeah, but this is the kind of deck I like to play, because I have a pretty aggro deck in Gisela, but the way I do aggro is that I sit and wait. And
you just kind of bide your time.
I wait for everything. Occasionally I'll do something. But with Gisela, it's like, alright, this game's going on too long.
Drop Gisela, have fun swinging at each other. Yeah.
But what I can do with Breya is that I'm like, alright, they're doing something. I'm gonna, sack this creature so I get a Thopter. kind of thing, and I can
you can play a very reactive game with it, and you can kind of just like play off of what your opponents are doing. It's like, oh hey, you're swinging me, okay, I'm gonna sack this artifact to give that guy -4/-4, and then block to have my bigger dude kill your smaller dude, or something like that.
And the thing is, with artifact decks, it's like, oh, I have things that allow me to go into my graveyard, get artifacts back. So I can keep doing that. I think
now, yours came with the Planeswalker, right?
Yes.
Did any of the other ones come with Planeswalker?
No, his was the only one that came with a Planeswalker.
Yeah.
It came with Duretti Scrap Savant, which people will remember from the Commander 2014 product, because he was one of the Planeswalker commanders. Yeah. Honestly, he makes sense in that deck, because it's like, the whole reason...
Artifact graveyard recursion.
Yeah, because it's literally like... when I see the Breya deck, I literally see Sharoom plus Duretti. And
that's essentially what it is.
That just makes sense. That's exactly what it is. It's a combination of those 4 colors and everything to do with artifacts and whatnot. So
now, Chad, you played Saskia the most.
Yes, I played Saskia the Unyielding, which is the Sans Blue deck, aka
something
Open Hostility.
Yes.
So Saskia, the first game I really didn't have as I couldn't. I really felt like it didn't do the deck justice.
Well, because you put out 2 guys.
I put out a couple guys, and then I was just stuck on the defensive because everyone else was just ramping mana out of control, and I could not keep up in both ramp as well as card advantage and drawing cards and keeping a board state.
I mean, I was slow at first, but then I started getting my mana rocks.
Yeah, you ended up stabilizing after a while, but me, I just got knocked out really quickly because I could not find the amount of cards that I needed to try and build up my board state and build up a nice, good, solid defense.
Although
I didn't even play Saskia in that game, if I recall.
No, you didn't. But that was second game, though. You definitely came out the gate swinging with that.
Oh yeah, as soon as I had the mana, I just immediately played Saskia, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna point at Zack, mostly because I had a little bit of hostility towards him because of him knocking me out in the first game.
Having played against the Saskia ability is the most frustrating thing.
Yes, it reads, she's a 3/4 human soldier with vigilance for 1 of each color except blue, so black, red, green, white. As she enters the battlefield, choose a player. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to the chosen player.
Right, and that was very frustrating, I will say, especially from the outset, because I knew I had guys that were out, and I could protect my own board. But I couldn't protect Adam's board, and Adam did not have a fast start with the creatures on that second game.
The second game on it.
So it was constantly just oh, Chad's swinging into Adam. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, because I was swinging at Adam, and then Saskia's ability triggered, and Zack got dealt damage as well.
So mad.
But I definitely like that ability because it's basically at some point I probably wanted to blink her or kill her and recast her to target Harry because he was starting to build a huge wall with the Stalwart Unity group hug.
But that was we were having too much fun whacking into each other
at that point. Yeah,
having Harry just there.
But I think Saskia has a lot of untapped potential. She, as of this recording and as of the research that I've done into the decks prior to now, she was probably the least popular just because she has the most linear strategy, which is play dudes and swing. But it's when you start thinking about things that have damage doubling effects, you think of Furnace of Wrath or Gisela or Dictate of the Twin Gods, anything that says
even multiple combat steps
or multiple combat steps too. Yeah, it's basically what the math on it is this: say you have Gisela out and I'm swinging at somebody, then the damage would get doubled. So Saskia is a 3/4. She then deals 6. The triggered ability goes on the stack for 6, and that 6 doubles to 12. So I'm dealing 18 damage just with that one damage doubling effect and Saskia.
Which is ridiculous.
And if I have a board on top of that, if I have other creatures to swing with, it just gets crazy from there.
Straight terrifying.
So it's yes, she has the most linear strategy, but I think she has the most explosive potential as well.
There's something to be said. That's good.
I really like her.
Compared to Saskia, compared to I forget her name.
Breya
is kind of a slow build until it gets to the point where I'm alright, I have all these artifacts. I have Duretti, and then I have I have
Akira.
where I can start getting things I have all these artifacts. I'm gonna blow it up, but I'm actually getting it back.
Yeah.
So
you can just start kind of playing around with your graveyard and stuff.
Now.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, would you, in that case, keep Saskia as the commander, Or would you just use the partner stuff to help build your board at the beginning, and then use Saskia as like an end game kind of...
It's a thought. I think the fact that you have access to Saskia as the commander and like have it always essentially be in your hand, quote unquote, that definitely says something, because if you're relying on that effect to win the game, you always want to have access to it.
Right.
And if you're choosing other things to be the commander, you don't always have access to it.
Right.
And it like the deck I think works well with her at the helm, and then the other partners playing just like their normal
second
roles
fiddle.
and stuff like that. The only deck that I think could probably be improved in that sense was the Yidris deck, Sans White, Maelstrom Wanderer, or Maelstrom Wielder rather, the Entropic Uprising deck. That was the one that Harry played in the first game.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like looking at the list, the deck doesn't look like it's built around Yidris himself.
No.
Because it's all about like wheeling, discarding, and drawing cards. Like he has cards in the deck that care about if an opponent discards a card, then he gets something like a zombie or an elf token. So what I was thinking is like Yidris doesn't want to be the lead singer of this deck, but he wants to like play a role in it. So I was thinking he could run the other two partners, the Kydel Prophet of Krufix, or Kydel something of Krufix. She's a 4-drop, 1 blue, 1 green,
Yidris?
2 of any kind.
Yeah, Yidris.
Kydel, Prophet of Krufix.
Kydel Prophet of Krufix. So what she does is she taps and adds a colorless mana to your mana pool for each card that you've drawn this turn.
Right. Which
waste
works
mana.
perfectly.
And for wheel effects, like he basically was having us discard our hand and excuse me, he was having us discard our hand and then draw 7 cards, which means that she now taps for 7 mana to play the cards that you just drew.
Right.
And then the other thing that she'd get partnered with was the Vile Smasher the Fierce, which really you're only playing him for the colors. But
again, it does work. Like, it definitely works out.
Oh, it does. Like, he kept replaying that one card, Ethereum Horn Sorcerer.
Yep.
He kept replaying that as his first spell every single turn because he would just bounce it back and replay it.
Yep.
He would get a free 6 damage off of it with Vile Smasher, and then he would cascade into something else. So...
Yeah.
If anything, you could run Animar on that one.
You could, actually. You could run Animar if it's in the colors.
Just like with that, like bouncing back and stuff,
Yep.
just like, hey, it's 1,000 Animar.
But for that deck specifically, for the Entropic Uprising, I think that Kydel and Vile Smasher make a better co-pilot thing commanding that deck than Yidris does. Yeah. Because, like, the Yidris deck, it's whenever he deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade, which is very powerful because it's both ramp and card draw because you're getting to get free stuff off the top of your deck.
Right.
But this deck, as it is right now in the precon, is not built to do that. I feel if you wanted to build a Yidris deck, you'd need to start from the ground up and just completely overhaul it. Whereas if you want to do the precon right now as it is, I think Kydel and Vile Smasher are probably your better bets.
Harry made a very good point about the deck. He was playing the combo Kings of Melodis, where...
Kynaios and Tiro.
Thank you.
Yep, that's it. Kynaios and Tiro.
They did a really good job of making a pillow fort deck, basically, that had win cons. Because that was... The criticism was Harry has a Feldergriff deck that he plays. That is just... Pillow Fort.
It's a group hug deck that's Pillow Fort, and its main win condition is... He had like a win condition that was like Death by Hippos, where he gets a bunch of mana and then can kill someone with by giving them a bunch of tokens, and then he has a card that's like whenever a creature enters the battlefield under its opponent's control, they lose 1 life.
But this one
like
definitely had like a lot more to it, I thought. And it was a very effective deck, I thought, too. A 2/8 for 4 is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also, like, they did a really good job. And I thought that was really clever how they just by adding 1 color, they gave it, like, a lot of cool stuff as well as being, like, a weird Pillow Fort.
They basically, I like to say that they basically combined a Zedru, the Great-Hearted deck, with the Feldergriff deck.
Exactly.
And Zedru's actually in the deck, which I thought was pretty cool, too. But, yeah, it's basically just taking the group hug colors and, like, smashing them together and seeing essentially what happens, and it definitely has a lot of staying power, as we saw.
Yeah. But I thought they were all very good products. It was definitely one of those things where I was definitely sort of it just felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good to play these decks, and it felt like everything worked together, and like I know that it's their job to make sure it all works together, but they did a really good job.
Yeah.
I know there were definitely critiques as to some of the printing.
Like what? Okay, yep, definitely. Let's go into that. There were definitely some small printing errors. There were a couple threads on Reddit within like the first day of its release, and people were saying it's like, oh, there's there was like some packaging errors where people were getting like duplicates of cards, and it wasn't the full product. It was just like two halves of separate product together.
Yep.
It was a weird thing. There was also another one there where there was a Breya deck that somebody had, and there were a lot of misprints in terms of like coloration on them and stuff like that. So
I mean, my
they
Breya deck
looked
came out
almost
okay.
like they were kind of water damaged in a sense. And then for actually Harry's deck with the Kings, there looked like there was like a ridge kind of through the card, where it looked like the printer kind of ran over it in a sense and just gave it a little indent. It doesn't like, it's not a huge deal breaking thing, and it
like,
doesn't
if you don't
ruin
look
the
closely,
playability.
really
If you don't look closely, you can't really see it. But it's just like, I'm kind of a little worried that, you know, I hope that not a whole lot of people had the same problems. I hope these are just like closed, isolated incidents that are just blowing up because of social media.
You know, like that's because that's the worst. It's like you're paying $30 for a product you'd like it to be all together.
Yeah,
and I mean they are great products to play with. I think these are really good for folks wanting to get into Commander, and it would really suck if you went through and you didn't have a full product, or if like even there were some like weird printing errors. Like that's always a shame that you have to deal with.
It ultimately depends on how things will work out, but I think it'll be fine. I think I like to believe that those are just isolated incidents that blew up because of social media, and I don't think they're going to be happening as often. Like really, in all honesty, Wizards has done a pretty good job with having their print runs of sets and supplemental product be usually off without a hitch.
Oh yeah.
The only like major thing I can think of in recent history was the Kaladesh pre-release, because somebody got a promo from their box. It was a Hand of Silumgar. Hand of Silumgar is a common from Dragons of Tarkir that's just a 2/1 for Death Touch for a black and one of any kind. That was their promo for a Kaladesh pre-release. It had the date stamp and everything. It had the date stamp for the Kaladesh pre-release, but it was a common instead of a rare or mythic as it should have been. Also from a completely different set, so it's just like that's probably the biggest error that I've seen within the past couple of years.
But no energy token either. But that...
Well, yeah, the energy token thing they even said, it's like, we forgot to put it in the file. They're not going to be in Wave 1 of Kaladesh, but they'll be in future boosters.
On the other hand, when you look at, like that mistake is probably going to be an expensive card.
Oh, yeah.
That guy definitely, locked down.
Their screw-up is your benefit, because that is a very rare card. It's a misprint. There's no other card that's ever going to be like that. So
exactly. So,
I see that. But, so do you guys have any thoughts about Commander 2016? Any final sort of things? Like, what kind of changes are you looking to make to the deck? What kind of cards do you think that you would want to put in replacement of some things that were kind of like lackluster for you? And another thing is, like, do you think you want to keep these decks? Would you take it apart and kind of cannibalize it for your other decks? Let's start with you, Zach. What are your thoughts?
I'm not the best at deck building, straight off. Like, when I make a deck, it has to go through, 5 other people who know Magic a lot better than I do before it becomes actually effective.
I should do that.
Which really sucks when it comes to, I have all these ideas for what I could throw in and what I could, but sometimes it doesn't synergize super great.
Mm-hmm.
I do really enjoy what this already has in it. I think if I did change anything in it, I would definitely put in a little more... I'd put in, I think I mentioned before, a couple more indestructible, ability things. Something that would make all my guys indestructible for a turn, or maybe, just for a moment. Just even, if it was some, frontline medic or something that would just give my guys indestructible for the rest of the turn so that I could board wipe. Because that's something that I really like, but it's also something that I think really helps control a game, especially when you have a lot of smaller guys that you want to build into larger guys.
Right.
It's one of those things where if you board wipe and you can give everyone indestructible so you have them after that board wipe where you clear the board of everyone else, then you're good. Because with a board wipe, typically it's we're starting back from point 1, but when you have enough dudes for it, it's all right, I can just start swinging in. I'm still a threat. I'm a huge threat now, even though I just dropped a board wipe. And even I think I had a moment where I wanted to play... I forgot the name of it, but it's an Abzan board wipe where it leaves one creature.
Oh, Dune Blast.
And one of the coolest parts about this deck was that I had a chance to Dune Blast, and because I had Rayhan on the field, which is one of the partner commanders that when creatures with counters on them that I control die, I get to move them onto one creature. So I had my commander out. If I had managed to get that board wipe off, not only would everyone have been gone, but I would have been able to take the maybe 12 other counters that I had on everyone else
and move it
onto
Atraxa.
that one Atraxa. And I could have used, I think I had Vorel the Hulk lad out as well. I could have that turn also doubled someone's tokens. Whoever had the most tokens, I could double them. And then move it on to
Atraxa.
Atraxa, and then swing in for big.
Yeah,
and
there's definitely a lot of good synergy in there. So I think probably for you, it's like, if not board wipes, definitely more like regular spot removal. Right. Because I noticed throughout the game, like, for me personally, I think this is what I might end up doing with Saskia, is like, yes, there were enough board wipes to kind of just have that reset when you need it, when just things are so cluttered, you just need to start from square one.
But
occasionally
have blue, which it's one of those things where you're expecting a lot more counterspells, you're expecting a lot more interactions on each other's turns.
And I think that's also why, is because there wasn't a whole lot of that in this deck, so that's why things kind of escalated.
The two games that we played, we weren't like counterspelling each other much.
No,
we weren't like stopping anyone from doing anything. We were just like sort of building up and then like waiting for stuff to happen, and every once in a while the board state would change because of something radical or something. So it was kind of interesting that, like, even though we all, except for Saskia, had blue, it was like we didn't really have anything to do instant-wise on each other's turns.
I had some stuff, but it wasn't really...
Yeah, you weren't really using it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that in general, off of... Like, if you think you're running too many board wipes and there's too many, like, heavy resets, I would say maybe more spot removal. Just because it's like, there were times when the board state was like pretty even, but there was like one big threat that we wanted to get rid of, like you and your Colonian Hydra, for example.
Yeah.
Like that needed to get answered immediately, otherwise it was going to get out of control.
Of course.
And I did not have any spot removal for it. So it's just like, I was sitting there with not a whole lot of stuff in my hand that could do anything, and I'm looking over to Harry, and he flashes me. He's like, he's got a couple board wipes, but he has a pretty big board state himself, and he doesn't want to wreck it. So I think having a couple like smaller answers or smaller scale things just to answer one target threat, I think will probably be an improvement. Adam, you got anything?
I don't know. I kind of like the deck as it is. I mean,
obviously there are things that you could put in, because I remember you were talking about like Thopter Spy Network
and Saheeli Rai.
Saheeli Rai.
I think Saheeli Rai is going to be the big thing right now, because
Hangerback Walker and some silly stuff like that.
Hangerback Walker. It's probably going to be Saheeli Rai, Hangerback Walker, and then Thopter Spy Network. Depending, but Saheeli Rai I like right now because I get to search up 3 different artifacts with different names. Mm-hmm. And then I shuffle it.
Now I forget, do you have white in that?
Yep, it's everything except green.
Okay. Because you could do a lot of cool stuff with a lot of the... From this last set, you could use, a lot of the servo generation, a lot of the like white cards that like add pluses to Thopters, add pluses to servos.
Yeah.
All the artifact stuff. Like,
there's definitely a lot of synergies to be had with the new stuff in there. Vehicles too, as you said.
Yeah, but I like the deck is right now. Again, it's probably going to be Saheeli Rai.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps it up for Commander 2016. Final thoughts for that. Just favorite card from the set.
Atraxa, basically. Although I will say that I did really enjoy that. One of the reasons I picked Atraxa is because I'm a Tarkir fanboy. I love Tarkir and everything that happened with it. And all of the partner commanders from this set
are all from Tarkir.
Are like Tarkir lieutenants and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like Rayhan is the Abzan who decided not to side with Dromoka in the Fate Reforged stuff. And I was like, whoa, that's a cool like callback to that.
Yeah.
And like some of these, I really liked how they like called back to sets that and like planes that we had. Like some of the guys are from Dominaria, some of the guys are from Theros, some of the guys are from all. We don't even know where Saskia is from, but we had some speculation, like maybe she's from Keldor, maybe she's from one of the way back in the day planes,
something like that.
And I really liked that. I liked how like flavor wise they were going with like here are some guys from different planes that you've been to, and each of the deck had some people. They had similar people from similar planes mixed in with some other stuff.
All right, Adam, your favorite card from the set?
I don't know. I like Breya a lot, but I have where is it?
No love for Bruce
Akiri. Akiri. It has to be.
She did work for
just
you
because of how fun she is to play.
Yeah, she did a lot of work for you. I remember she was constantly like a 14 or 16 power creature.
Had like a 26 double strike or something at one point. It was
it was scary because I was getting ridiculous.
That's
Locks in
Akiri.
Warhammer.
It's pretty silly.
That's why she's laughing.
What about you, Chad?
My favorite card, I'm going to be really unexciting, but my favorite card from the set is Ash Barrens. That one colorless land that basic land cycles for 1. Because it's like, okay, you have a card like Lay of the Land, for example, which is 1 green, search your library for a basic land card and put it in your hand as a sorcery. This is that, except on a land. So it doesn't take up a spell slot. Also, it's colorless, so you don't have to... Like, you can pay any mana into that basic land cycling ability and go and get what you want. So I think that versatility makes it something that you kind of want to look at if you're a deck that's running 3 or more colors.
Right.
Because it just, it's so flexible, it helps you fix your mana. If you want to play it, it comes into play untapped, and you can just have it towards your land count.
Done.
So good. I love it. It's a flexible card. Every 3 or more color deck should probably consider it.
It's a good. You've made a very good conservative investment. You're you're basically just like a middle class homeowner.
Yeah.
You're investing in like land, and you're like, this is a very solid investment. I think I can really raise my family here in this ash waste.
It doesn't look like you're doing much.
I can raise my family in Ash Barrens.
Have you seen this Saskia going around making damage? It's like, no, I like the ash waste. It's very nice. It's a neighborhood I can raise my children in.
There's a river.
There's a river in the ash waste. We can build by that. It's nice. The schools are great, and I pay almost nothing on property tax.
Fantastic. But anyway, so we're going to move away from Commander 2016.
We only have a little time to talk about anything else.
Yeah,
but
we're going to touch upon just a couple things that kind of happened and just like squeeze it into
this session we call It's Cool Because really quickly.
Yeah,
okay, stuff it's cool because stuff.
So we'll start with you had something about the Battleborn weekend.
Battleborn happened this weekend, which is funny because it's been happening, but no one has cared. But one of the things is that the Reddit community has been going strong, as Reddit communities typically do.
All 4 of them.
But they made a concentrated effort this weekend specifically to host a community event called the Battleborn Weekend, which was like Save Soulless Weekend, because that's because they really do want the game to do well.
Right.
They really like the game. The only issue is that it had a lot of launch problems when it came to marketing and getting the name of Battleborn out. Also, it was overshadowed by Overwatch. So in order to sort of counteract that, they're saying they were doing one last push to try to sort of save the game, quote unquote, where they basically a bunch of Battleborn people who were like Battleborn, like pros, quote unquote, veterans of Battleborn who are doing
people who have been playing it since its launch,
offered their services to people who were new or interested, and they said, "Listen, we will group up with you. We'll be your battle brothers, like a Big Brother kind of system, and we will help run you through the game so we can have a good time. We can check out all the maps." And Gearbox accepted this event too, and they opened up they basically opened up all the champions for this weekend for anyone to play, any champion. They put discounts on a lot of on the real world money store for skins, taunts, etc. They activated the Lootpocalypse events. They activated the double XP weekends for this weekend. They had the devs playing with people, and it was just really nice to see the devs and the community and everyone sort of team up together and try to save this game that they really like.
Yeah,
and I've been there where there's games that I really like that no one cares about, and that's happened a lot. Infinite Crisis, Hellgate London, things like that, where there is a community, but the problem is that it doesn't make enough money for it to really do well. So it was nice to see, even if
it was good to see the community come together,
and it's always great to see like a nerd community come together for something, and that was just really nice in my mind.
All right,
okay. Next, D&D real quickly. D&D got inducted to the Toy Hall of Fame.
Woo!
Along with the Swing and Little People.
See, the fact that the Swing has not been inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame...
To be fair, it was one of the other nominees for this year was Bubble Wrap.
Oh my god.
So I have no idea
Bubble Wrap?
I have no idea what the Toy Hall of Fame is.
That's not a...
Still.
I feel like...
Congratulations to Dungeons & Dragons.
And Zack says something came out.
Yeah, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons players will be sort of aware of this. But Volo's Bestiary, I think it's like Volo's Bizarre Bestiary or something, came out. It's basically a... Volo's not Guide to Waterdeep, but it's a guide to monsters. Came out, and what's neat about it is it gives player character rules for a lot of monstrous characters. Goliaths, hobgoblins, regular goblins, furbolgs, things like that. Also, it adds a lot of monster lore for some new monsters. I know the Froghemoth made an appearance. They added some new guys. Like, they added these little poison dart frog guys, which are really cool looking, and they have different poisons that do different things. Like, if you get attacked by this guy, you have to, like, scream every 5 minutes, because that's what the poison does.
That's actually fantastic.
And it's stuff like that. And it was really neat, and I was really impressed with, they had a thing where if you went to participating stores and you bought it, like, in hard copy, you got, like, a special edition one that, like, has, like, a really cool cover. It's got, like, a crazy mind flayer, like, on the front cover.
Oh, man.
So dope. I'm probably going to pick up one just because I've been amassing, like, an Amazon cart that's, like, just... Because I have personally, since I've been a child, loved the monster manuals, and just, like I don't even care... I don't even care about the crunch. I love these creatures. I love seeing the art. And if there's one thing that 5th edition has impressed me with, even if it hasn't been like super great gameplay-wise with like feats and stuff, and it's a very different beast than 3.5 and 4.0, I have always been impressed with the art they've been putting into 5.0. Like, it is all fantastic.
And good news for you, if you like reading about monsters, there's nearly 100 monsters suitable for any D&D campaign in Chapter 3 of the Bestiary.
Boom. Damn. See?
I might get this because I just want to read this.
It's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, alright.
What else we got?
Did BlizzCon happen?
BlizzCon happened,
and there was a lot of different things.
There were a lot of announcements. Like, the biggest one, I guess, was probably that Sombra was revealed. There was a whole alternate reality game that was about it. Not particularly well received, but that's because Blizzard even admitted we don't know how to do ARGs.
Well, no, they did. I think they did a very good job. I think that the problem is that it just like led everyone on constantly.
Yeah.
Although I do think that some of the payoffs for the ARG should have been the animated trailers.
Yeah,
that would have been
once you hit like a certain thing and discovered certain things, and the trailer just got revealed to the world. That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been neat.
But yeah, so Sombra got revealed. She's going to be the next character added to Overwatch, along with like three maps and a huge like arcade mode section.
The arcade mode is neat, but I will say it's a little time consuming. I've tried a lot of this in the PTR. And Sombra's very cool in the PTR. She does get picked almost constantly.
Oh, of course.
But she has a lot of cool stuff. I've definitely enjoyed, like, she has a lot of damage. She basically has, she's comparable to, like, Soldier 76 damage-wise, but there's very little accuracy to it because it's a machine pistol.
Right.
But what's really neat is that I've seen Sombra's run in shooting, and then using the teleport, they, like, placed it on a health pack to, like way
blink out,
and then blink back. So they're doing like very Tracer-esque like reverses.
That's pretty cool.
In order to like heal up, and the whole hacking medkits has been like, you know, it doesn't seem like something that would really like hurt, but it does hurt the other team when it comes to like, oh, here's an area that we're all fighting in. Oh, I can't use this medkit. It's just gone. Like, you cannot use it because it's hacked.
Yeah,
really cool. The new game modes with arcade, I think the only reason you would play them is because they give you a loot box when you do a first win.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Loot box.
Yeah, the loot box feature is nice that they just give you loot boxes.
I like watching loot box openings,
but they're tough to. But they are tough to win.
Yeah,
it's one of those things like 1v1. You have to win. I think it's best out of 5, and that's you get a random. You each get the same random champion each round. So, like, I had, like, the first one was Tracer. We were both Tracer, and we're running around shooting each other as Tracer in this weird map. And the map is nice and small, but it's weird on 1v1, because, like, if you're not, like, right in each other's face, you're just, like, hunting around for them.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I won, but it was, like, one of those things where I was just, like, it was really rough, because, like, there was some where I was, like, Zenyatta, and, like, Zenyatta by himself is not, like, a real, like, you don't think, like, oh, man, I'm definitely going to wreck this guy, Zenyatta. Like, you're like,
yeah. Just throw balls at people.
Hope for the best.
So it was fun. I think the only reason why I would play the arcade mode is because of the no limit. Because that's what current quick play is. Because quick play as we know it is not going to be quick play any longer. Because in live quick play, as of this recording, there's no limit to like how many characters you can have on a team.
I like that.
And now it's being changed so that there is a hero limit because they want quick play to be like the training ground for competitive.
Which
is okay. It's like it's not the end of the world. Like they still gave you the no limit thing that you can now do all those weird like double Reinhardt comps or everyone playing Mei or something.
I really
like
the all champ games. Like that was always fun because it's a spontaneous sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like because I'm not super stoked about the whole one person is one whatever. I get that it's like you're like, oh, competitive. Like, I would love to see that in just competitive, and then quick play is just the average quick play that we have, because I have a lot of fun with this quick play.
Yeah.
And I do like when two people accidentally lock in like the same champ, and then everyone just goes with that champ. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm a super fan of that. And
So-
like,
Unfortunately, that's going to be a relic of the past, but I don't think it's going to be hurtful to the game in any way.
No,
like,
'cause
people are going to
this
miss
will
it,
have
but it's
arcade,
like,
but it's-
literally, you could just go back into No Limit and you'll do the thing. So.
okay.
So that's all that we have time for, according to our
Yeah.
watch over here.
Okay,
I'm trying to keep it,
There were a couple other topics that we weren't able to touch upon, but we'll probably definitely get to those in a future
They'll end up in other
podcast.
videos or podcasts or something.
quick wrap up. Everyone go around say one cool thing that they found or doing.
That we found about what?
You're
Just
just
anything.
mumbling.
Just one cool thing.
Sounds like he's drunk.
Adam's having a rough time.
I was
Adam-
stretching and yawning.
Adam needs to go back
Okay,
to the cage.
one cool thing that has been happening for me, at the very least, is the League of Legends update. Like, they have like a whole bunch of new stuff. They're gearing up for preseason. Harry and I have been messing around with it a bit, so we're hoping to continue with that a little bit.
I have been playing a weird game. A buddy of mine really likes free-to-play games, and I accidentally got into Tiger Knight Empire Wars, which is a Chinese... Basically, if you ever played the game Mountain Blade, it's that, but set in Three Kingdoms, China.
Okay.
And it's really wacky. One of my main complaints is that everyone, like, you never look like a really badass warrior. You always look like a hobo. But, like... You're a hobo
That's
killing
it.
other hobos in ancient China.
All right.
Which is super weird. But
if you're into that.
But I definitely enjoy. Well, like right now, like my guy started off looking like a crazy man wearing a sack, holding like a crowbar. But now I'm a crazy man wearing not sack anymore. I'm wearing like various aprons made of leather and hitting people in the face with a paddle. And that's my guy.
All right.
And it's a neat game. I'm glad that they put it out there. I'm glad that it's free. Because I would definitely not pay for this. But it's at least mildly entertaining. And it has a lot of the same stuff as... It's weird because it combines a lot of different games. It combines Mountain Blade, it combines Dynasty Warriors, and it combines World of Tanks, surprisingly enough. Because it has that whole thing where you have a unit and then like you run out and like if you get totally killed, you just leave that game, grab another unit from your like stable of units, jump into another game, and then you're just like doing that. It's kind of neat.
All right.
Okay.
Adam, yours?
What I'm doing, I'm running a short film with my friend.
Nice. Wow, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
don't want to spoil anything. But
All
I'm
right.
excited
Well,
about
we got that going to the
Well, we'll
pipeline,
definitely
I
post
guess.
some stuff on the Talkbox podcast once that's
it. Yeah, when I finish it.
Yeah, we'll share it, definitely.
Quick thing, it's... I don't know if you guys knew what Adam Young is. The main guy from Mountain City.
Yes.
What he's been doing is, since last February, he's been releasing an album every month.
Really?
Based on an historical event. And the contest is to take a song from that and use it to score your own thing.
Oh, neat.
Wow.
So yeah, me and my friend are writing something.
Very
Nice.
cool, man.
Do it up.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
so,
look forward to that and,
Yes.
possibly help out where we can. We'll
Yeah,
share it on the
yeah.
podcast as soon as it gets done.
And,
All right. So here we are yet again at the end of another podcast. Thank you very much for listening. As always, I'm Chad.
Zach.
I'm Adam.
And you've been listening to the Talkbox Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Ooh.